What is up guys, it's your boy Swollam here, back with another Classic 1 video for Season of Discovery. Now today we're talking about the upcoming phases of Season of Discovery and what they might have to offer for you. Basically, the future of Classic WoW Season of Discovery. So if you are wondering about Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4 and so on, this might be the video for you. Now, in this video, we are reacting to Ebonheart's brand new video called Season of Discovery's upcoming phases are amazing. And we have seen this guy's videos before and they are really good. We have reacted to 2 of his Classic Plus videos, plus 1 of the BlizzCon videos as well. And we should just keep the train rolling, keep the tradition going. Once again, his videos are really good, so we are reacting to this one as well. And I'm going to put my input on this. I think I have a couple of ideas about what I want to see in future phases. And we'll see what Ebonheart has to say here and put some input on it as well. Once again, go show Ebonheart some love. I will link his channel in the description down below so you can go show him some love as well by subscribing and liking the video. I already know it's going to be good, so I'm just going to give it a pre-like before watching. Either way, let's get into it. So here we go, let's play.
Season of Discovery ends Phase 4 with Karazhan Crypts, but what about what comes before that? And then there is the fun question of what comes after. Well, we all know that Season of Discovery has 4 phases, and that Phase 1 is Black Fathom Deeps at level 25, as well as the Ashen Vale PvP zone for its PvP event. It's our introduction to level up raids and new PvP event zones, letting Blizzard test the waters, dipping their toes in to see just what the classic player base enjoys and just what it hates. And I think they've hit the nail on the head on how to properly release content and make changes to Season of Discovery because of the phase system. 4 to 12 weeks between each phase is a sweet spot for letting people enjoy content without getting bored. This system...
Have they said 4 to 12 weeks, by the way? I'm just going to give my prediction on Phase 2 while we're here. I think Phase 2 is coming 6 weeks after the launch of Phase 1, because Phase 1 is kind of small, it's level 1 to 25, and I think some people are already getting bored, which is like, it's week 1. I'm having so much fun still, but I will say I've cleared the raid, I've leveled up some alts, but I'm absolutely no-lifing though. So I hope 6 weeks, because the thing is, if it's 3 weeks, if it's 4 weeks, then that's Christmas Eve. If it's 5 weeks, that's New Year's Eve. So 6 to 7 weeks after Phase 1 is when I would personally realistically expect to see it, because there's no way that they release the next phase during Christmas or at like New Year's Eve or something. Definitely gonna be early January. But let me know when you think Phase 2 is coming out down below. If you have any suggestions, let me know like your content schedule when you think Phase 1 is coming. Well, Phase 1, we already in Phase 1, but like Phase 2, Phase 3 and Phase 4, because I would be expecting Phase 2 to come out early January, and Phase 2 is a long phase, so I think that's going to last 2 months, so 8 weeks, which means early March would be Phase 3, and then probably early May would be the next phase, so every single leveling phase being 8 weeks, and then probably at level 16 they should continue the 8 to 10 weeks. I feel like 12 weeks might be a little bit too much, but at the same time, I don't really know. The thing is, this season is going to last for a long time if they keep this phasing, and the actual schedule to the phases.
Let everyone share how they feel about a new experience, because every person you ask will have a wildly different answer to what is Classic.
That is a
Plus.
good cinematic.
So this is far more useful to Blizzard than 1,000 voices yelling different things. So Black Fathom Deeps and the Ashen Vale PvP event zone are testing grounds for player reactions. When you keep that information in mind, it makes the remaining phases and schedule make a lot more sense. Phase 2...
I will say, I've been thinking that like the entirety of Season of Discovery is in fact a testing ground for like Classic Plus later down the line. That's how I'm that's how I'm approaching this season at least. It's a testing ground for Classic Plus. I think they really want to make something like this permanent, with even more changes as well. So like Season of Discovery, a testing ground for Classic Plus, just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. The rune system is probably good for that reason, to see which abilities people are happy with and which class changes people are happy with, and seeing what's like too much and what's too little at the same time. And there's the same thing with like leveling up raids as well, and just seeing everything. So you could see like a Classic Plus where level 1 to level 25 is the beginning, then they gradually increase the level cap up until max, plus introduce a whole lot of new content. That's what I'm hoping, at least. Like, that's my ultimate hopium later down the line.
Is Numeragon at level 40, and it's a dungeon that's massive, full of flavor, and still abandoned in retail, leaving the gnomes as homeless refugees for almost 2 decades. Just like Black Fathom Deeps, it's a large dungeon that can essentially be broken into different wings and be filled with bosses, events, and quests that just feel natural. And just how Phase 1 had a massive PvP event zone, Phase 2 will have one as well. Well, it should, so long as the player base doesn't lose their collective minds and tear Ashen Vale down so hard that Blizzard can't.
Dude, I hope that phase 2 we get a really big PvP event centered around Stranglethorn Vale, with like the PvP chest arena being the ultimate reward, or something. Just like Stranglethorn Vale is already really bad for PvP. Make it even worse. Just make it an absolute PvP zone. I think that would be great. It would be annoying, but it would be really good to experience. So like Stranglethorn Vale, just have the PvP event there as well. It's already known for being like massive world PvP, if you're playing on PvP servers, of course.
Cancels their plans. Warlords of Drenna. And whilst BFD is in Ashenvale, so is Warsong Gulch. So you'd think that Phase 2's PvP zone event should be in the Arathi Highlands to tie it into Arathi Basin. But you'd be wrong, because Phase 2's PvP event zone is in Stranglethorn Vale. Honestly, it would be funny if they kept PvP zone events in the zone of the dungeon, but how could they turn an alliance leveling zone into a PvP event zone?
Stranglethorn Vale, dude, yeah.
And gnomes just being exiled to Elven Forest? No, that won't happen. But Stranglethorn Vale itself makes perfect sense, a highly contested PvP zone and one that should have had a battleground from the get-go. We can likely expect a new reputation, a new quartermaster for some PvP loot down there, but we'll find out more in the coming weeks. Now, Phase...
Dude, what is the name of the tiger that people have been thinking about? It's not the Swift Sulian tiger, but like there's a tiger that has been like a myth in WoW for a long time, and like how to get the tiger and stuff. What if they put that tiger as a mount in the Stranglethorn Vale PvP event? I don't know remember the name, but it's like a cheetah mount, right? So a cheetah mount that you get, or a leopard mount, cheetah/leopard mount, and you get that from the PvP event in Stranglethorn Vale. That would be like the ultimate Easter egg to like draw people back in, that the people that like were expecting that mount back in the day. It was like a leopard mount, yeah? Like a striped leopard or whatever, like a literal leopard mount that was apparently in the game files at some point, but wasn't really available to anyone. It was just in the game files. So make that one, make a leopard mount. We haven't really had that ever, have we?
3 is where it gets spicy, but also still makes perfect sense since we have Scala Monastery, which comes with the level cap of 50, but it's also just a very conflicted and iconic battleground. That's right, Alterac Mountains and thus Alterac Valley, with Scala Monastery being one of the most iconic dungeons because of Sally White, I mean because of badass crusaders, and Alterac Valley being one of the most recognizable battlegrounds in World of Warcraft. It's a perfect combination to throw out for Phase 3. Regardless, between the level cap of 50 and Scala Monastery being turned into a massive level up raid with new bosses, remastered bosses, new events, quests, and perhaps even a brand new reputation, Phase 3 is looking to be incredibly exciting. The PvP is just icing on that beautiful, delicious cake. And then that brings us to Phase 4 and the first new dungeon in Classic, Karazhan Crypts, a dungeon that was designed back in 2002 or 2003 and then abandoned because they ran out of time, before becoming the raid known as Karazhan and the Burning Crusade. We know nothing about Karazhan Crypts, and people will be making pure conjecture until it comes out, but I expect us to perhaps see original quest lines and ideas make it back into the game. It could be
the only thing we know about Karazhan Crypts that we actually don't know, but we can make an educated guess, is the layout of the dungeon, because when you glitch yourself into the crypts, you can actually go inside and you can see the infrastructure of absolutely everything, and that's basically all we can do. There is a certain server out there that might be based on an animal that has Karazhan Crypts, so we can use that one as like a baseline or an outlier to kind of get an idea of what a dungeon will be like, but yeah, we can get the infrastructure. Other than that, we have absolutely no idea. I should also say, do we know that that's coming in Phase 4? What if that's like a catch-up dungeon coming with the Sulgurub raid or something in Phase 3? That could be happening, but I would expect it to come in Phase 4 when level 60 content unlocks with Molten Core. But what if it's a bigger dungeon with better rewards than just like regular dungeons, and that's why they want to hold it off until Sulgurub comes out or something? I don't think they've stated. I might be wrong here. I didn't really do the research on the phases, but yeah, let's go.
The start of an alternate timeline with ideas from vanilla making a frontline return. We will likely get a new reputation to grind, new quests, new items, and perhaps even instead of being a 10-man level up raid, we're looking at the first new 20-man or 40-man raid in Classic. But PvE without PvP just isn't World of Warcraft, and thus the new PvP zone event for Phase 4 is also likely to be new content. Since Karazhan Crypts an abandoned and forgotten concept and ideas being brought back to life, so will, in my opinion, Azshara create a completely new battleground dreamed back to life for Classic, as well as turning Azshara into a massive level 60 zone-wide PvP event zone. New reputations, quest lines, and much more are going to be given to us, and our dream is the limit, or in this case the amount of risk Blizzard is willing to take. And thus I conclude what I call the Season of Discovery introduction phases, which are amazing and incredible. Whilst we don't know exactly what we'll be getting, it's only the beginning of Season of Discovery because Blizzard has already said we're getting more content at level 60. And thus, let me introduce you all to the Season of Discovery Endgame phases, which is phase 5 to 8. Now, you might think that 8 phases is a lot, but Classic, when it came out in 2019, had 6 phases, and that was just re-releasing the original 6 raids. Now, this is what we call the educated guessing phase, where we have...
Yeah, because phase 2 will be level 40, phase 3 is level 50, phase 4 is the level 60 with Molten Core, then phase 5 would be Blackwing Lair, right? And phase 6 would probably be set G, and, well, set G. The thing is, if phase 3 is only set G, I feel like they should just throw Karazhan Crypt or some brand new dungeon in phase 3 as well, because phase 4, usual phase 3, I have already lost track. That's like phase 6, right? Phase 4 is Molten Core. Phase 4 Molten Core, phase 5 Blackwing Lair, phase 6 is basically set G, then phase 7 is AQ, and phase 8 is Nax. We have 8 phases. Holy, alright, let's go.
Ideas, and we know what they're going to do nominally, but despite knowing we're getting content, new and old, changes and more, we don't know what that is. So this is more of a wish list for content. So phase 5 is of course none other than Molten Core and the top 5 most iconic raids in World of Warcraft after Black Temple, Ulduar, ICC, and Siege of Orgrimmar. Don't crucify me for that top 5 in the comments. Whilst Molten Core might not be the most iconic raid, Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker is the single most iconic in-game weapon from World of Warcraft, if you don't count Frostmourne or the Warglaves. We're looking at a remastered Molten Core, new bosses, mobs, quests, items, and perhaps even legendaries and reputations.
Give us Ashbringer, or Corrupted Ashbringer, but give us Ashbringer. Legendary for Paladin, so like anyone really but Ashbringer, and make it have a insane questline that probably you start in Scarlet Monastery or something, because it makes sense. I also have one idea for Shamans that I personally really like, and this one is a class quest at level 60 based on your weapons. So you can get like a weapon for Shaman specifically, because once again, if you have Ashbringer, that's a Paladin thing. You want to have something similar for Shamans, so make it be like a legendary hammer. Yes, you already have the Hammer of Ragnaros, but make it be a hammer that you can also break into 2 splinters. That way you can either be a 2-handed Shaman or a 1-handed Shaman using the same thing. Like you have a 2-handed weapon that you get from your class quest, which would be like legendary or legendary worthy, and you can break it off into 2 splinters using like dual wield instead, and you would have to kill Ragnaros to get this, because you want to attune yourself to Ragnaros, and it's like a hammer of Ragnaros, and having these hammers would also give you a brand new ability as a shaman, where you throw either the one hammer that you have or the 2 splinters on the ground, and they deal pulsating AoE damage. Think about like Magma Totem, that type of damage, right? But they would obviously deal a little bit more damage, and it would have a cooldown. So like you have to go through an epic questline, going through the raid, killing Ragnaros, attuning yourself to Ragnaros, maybe even looting something from him like a splinter to craft this hammer, and then you get like a 2-handed hammer that once again you can break into 2 splinters, and having the hammer unlocks a brand new rune for Shamans, which you throw your 1 2-hander or 2 1-handers on the floor, dealing AoE damage for let's say 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Could be really cool, and it's just a idea I had last night on stream that I personally think sounds cool. It might be a little bit over the top, but let me know what you think about that one. That's just me throwing out some ideas.
Legendary that's already in the game but only one singular person got is the necklace back from vanilla, which got removed because it wasn't meant to be in the game. Now that necklace might not come back, but they already have legendaries they designed back then, which they could reincorporate into Season of Discovery. I'm not sure exactly how much they'll change Molten Core and with it Onyxia, but there will be changes. As for PvP, Blackrock Mountain is the single most cancerous PvP zone in the game. If you played on a PvP server, then you'll be having Vietnam flashbacks. So we know that Molten Core and Onyxia are coming, but what about new content? Allow me to introduce the new and improved Dire Maul or Black Rock Depths.
Yes.
These two dungeons are massive, so massive in fact that in Cataclysm they got cut down and reshaped into multiple separate wings, and in BRD's case they just scrapped well over half of it. Either of these two dungeons make most sense as being a new 20-man raid or 10-man raid, and logically it makes sense because Blizzard stated that they wanted new players to be able to catch up easily phase to phase, so introducing more level 60 level up raids makes gearing a lot easier and allows transitioning into raids more easily. Albeit I'm not sure if they'll focus all the effort into making the already existing raids better and more fun to interact with, and keeping the phases between 4 and 12 weeks long so we get a lot of hyper-focused content and then new phases before we get bored. Or maybe phases 5 to 8 will be 6 months long each with a storm of content to keep us all content. Nonetheless, phase 6 is Blackwing Lair and Zul'Gurub, two fun and interesting raids which will definitely get more quests, perhaps reputations, noobs, mechanics, changes, and loot. The dungeons most likely to get changed with this phase are Temple of Atal Hakar for ZG and Blackrock Spire for Blackwing Lair, correlating nicely with each other. Also, Blackrock Mountain being a horrible war zone probably continues into phase 6, maybe Stranglethorn and Vale as well at this point. But then again, perhaps this is an overload of content and I'm overestimating Blizzard's zeal, desire, and goals when it comes to Classic Season of Discovery. There is a lot that they could do here, so much in fact.
The thing is, there is a lot they can do, and he just gave a bunch of ideas, but I'm really hopeful. Based on what they've done in phase 1, they have far exceeded my personal expectations for Season of Discovery, so like, they seem very interested in making this as good as it can be. So we'll see.
That this could easily be a 6-month content stretch between the 10-mans, 20-mans, and 40-mans. Let's move on though to phase 7, which is where I think we're going to see the most new content in the game. Scarab Lord is a very coveted title, and the Black Kiraji battle tank is one of the rarest mounts in the entire game. The opening of An Kiraj and the Scepter of the Shifting Sand questline is long, awesome, and genuinely a wild experience.
That's what she said. Or he said.
So imagine
or
the things they
said.
could do here, the things they could add. Imagine a massive zone-wide PvP event in Silphus where the Horde and Alliance battle it out for new PvP reputations and items. AQ40 and AQ20 are incredible raids full of awesome bosses, lore, mechanics, and loot, and I can't wait to see what Blizzard does here. Now, we aren't theory crafting if we don't think about new content, and with that, allow me to introduce Uldaman, the new 10-man dungeon and another location to gear with level 60 gear so you can delve into the raids faster. Last but not least, Phase 8 and the dreaded Naxxramas, the so-called Guild Killer in Vanilla and definitely Guild Killer in Classic, as everything devolved into GDKPs and triggered hyperinflation. Naxxramas will like to get more loot, new quests, new bosses, new mechanics, and more. That's to be expected. But what else will change in Phase 8? Well, let me introduce you all to the new 20-man or 10-man raid Stratholme, one of the most iconic places in all of Warcraft and the beginning of the fall for our beloved Prince Arthas. Now, this is me wishing, but it could make sense, as once Eastern Plague lands into a massive PvP zone event, which is already supported by the towers situated across the zone, it would make a lot of sense to have more than just Naxxramas for the entirety of Phase 8, and the size of Stratholme already correlates to being a miniature raid anyways. Even if they only include a fraction of what I've spoken of, and even if they go absolutely a completely different path, the amount of content that Blizzard seems to be planning to add to Classic Plus Season of Discovery is staggering. And whilst all of this might not be in Season of Discovery, it will definitely be in Classic Plus. So whether Season of Discovery is Classic Plus or leads into Classic Plus, expect an obscene amount of content just from the endgame phases. Now, this last section is going to be the shortest, but allow me to show you my terrible but somewhat decent guess to the final stretch. Welcome to Season of Discovery, Classic Plus phases. This section right here isn't going to have me guess as to how, why, or even what any of this will look like. This is just my guess of the content that's coming once they finish with existing content. No matter how reasonable a guess, everything is in the air based on player feedback and reactions through all the phases. If you want to see more from me, watch this video right here. And subscribe and like the video if you're depressed. If you're not depressed, like and subscribe anyways. Thank you, Ebenhard.
Okay, but this part.
Even what any of this.
Phase 9, Mount Hyjal.
Like. This is just my guess.
Phase 9, Mount Hyjal. Phase 9, Mount Hyjal. Can I skip back so we can see the entirety on the screen? Yeah, there we go. So Phase 9, Mount Hyjal. Phase 10, Uldum. Phase 11, Grimbat Hall. And Phase 12, Gilneas. Okay. I mean, I'm down. Like Mount Hyjal, Uldum, I'm all for those. Grimbat Hall and Gilneas, I don't really know that much about. But Uldum, I really want Uldum. Like, we even have quest lines to open the gate of Uldum in Classic WoW. So, like, the potency of Uldum, right, from doing Uldaman. So, that one makes sense. And maybe that's, like, the attunement to getting into Uldum is having to have done Uldaman and hand in that quest to get the potence to unlock the gate. And that way you can do Uldum. Mount Hydril as well, really, really cool. Phase 9, 10, 11, and 12. There's no way we have 12 phases. If we do, that's a lot of content. That's gonna take like a couple of years to go through. Well, like, yeah, 2+ years. That would be insane. If they do this and lead into Classic Plus, so like if they go through this and then make Classic Plus based on all of this, I'm all for it. Like, so far, Season of Discovery has been amazing, and I think it's gonna keep being amazing as well. But I think I've already stretched this too long. I've tried to give my feedback during the video, what I'm thinking is going to happen and what I think. What I will say at the end was that it was a very good video, going through so much stuff in 10 minutes, talking about like what we want to happen, what is happening, and what we think will happen as well at the same time, covering every single phase, and not just like phase 2, 3, and 4, we're also covering like speculative phases as well, talking about max level, and then we have this, phase 9, 10, 11, and 12, which only got like a 30-second part at the end of the video, but yeah, this is interesting, super interesting, and there's so many things Blizzard can do here. Season of Discovery is looking to be absolutely amazing, and comparing to Season of Mastery, this one is like 10 billion times better. Like, what world are we living in? I was not expecting any of this, and if all of this happens, yeah, I have no idea what to say. Really good video though, Ebonheart. I really appreciate it. If you are watching my reactions, hopefully you enjoy those. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. And go show Ebonheart some love. He's pumping out massive, really good content. I'm really like enjoying this. And yeah, either way, thank you for watching. I'll be live on YouTube and Twitch all day, pretty much every single day. I have been in the last week. We have been playing Season of Discovery so much. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you either in another video or on stream. Peace.